Welcome back to Who's Gonna Tell Her, the show where we say the things women joke about but don't actually unpack. Thanks for dealing with us yet again for another episode this week. V, what are we talking about today, love?
Today, we're talking about why slowing down feels impossible for many of us. And us,
Ooh.
by us, I
Mhm.
mean me, right?
And me.
Because it's not just about being busy, it's about what shows up when you finally stop. And
Yeah.
that usually shows up as unresolved emotions, unprocessed grief, resentment, exhaustion, or a version of ourselves that we have not checked in with for years.
Oh, I'm about to get red. Okay. And here's the thing, because like some of y'all don't slow down because you're tired. You're not slowing down because you're scared. Are y'all scared out there? Y'all scared of yourselves? Because the moment things get quiet, there's nothing left to distract you from your own thoughts. And honestly speaking, that can feel a lot louder than the chaos from, your day to day.
Exactly. So when you're constantly moving and doing and managing and planning and overthinking and fixing,
Oh,
you don't
so
have
much.
time.
Hmm.
We don't have time to
No,
sit
it's
with
true.
anything that feels remotely uncomfortable. And
Hmm.
silence then becomes this enemy for us and not rest. So the house, at least for me, being quiet can become more uncomfortable than the noise ever did.
So
And
true.
that it shows up as always, at least for me again, me. For me, this actually shows up as always having to stay busy, having something to do. When there's nothing to do, or I don't have anything that's like on my to-do list, I will find something, without a doubt.
Yeah, and suddenly you find yourself alphabetizing the snacks at 10 p.m. It's just like, girl, why are you doing that? Just hop on the couch and watch Real Housewives or something. Like you're attaching these tasks to you like they're part of your personality arc. Like, cleaning a counter that's already been cleaned 10 times. I'm, victim of doing that. So I'm reading myself. Reorganizing a drawer that no one has opened in 6 months. I mean, like, you tie your productivity to who you are as a person, and it's not healthy, friend.
Right. I'm telling myself when this happens, I'm just being productive. I'm getting things done. I'm multitasking, but really what I'm doing is I'm avoiding stillness because
Hmm.
stillness for me brings up these questions or these emotions that I just don't feel ready to answer. To be honest, it's like that's boring. I don't want to deal with the boring stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think we praise this behavior and we call it for us as moms or, just being a good mom or, oh, she's so on top of things or being strong. And no one asks you if you're okay. And they
No
just say,
one.
like, oh, I don't know how you do it or, oh my God, you do this so well. Or, oh my God. And we wear it like this badge of honor. And it's kind of psychotic.
I think that many of us are conditioned to believe that our worth comes from usefulness. For
Yeah.
example, like there's times that you may realize that you start feeling guilty or irrelevant when you're not doing something for somebody else. I know I do. Like if I'm not getting something done for the kids or doing something productive in the house or
Hmm.
helping my parents with something, offering my services, really, I feel guilty when I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there enjoying myself or
Yeah.
spending time with myself.
Yeah, you feel like the rest has to be earned and so yeah, so let's break this down. Let's talk about the psychology behind the busy because psychologically I think this makes a lot of sense. When you're constantly busy, your nervous system stays activated. You're in survival mode. So it feels familiar and in like this odd kind of psycho way, safer than actually slowing down.
I think that silence forces introspection. And I think that in that silence, it'll bring up grief, regrets, resentments, any unmet desires. Just so staying busy becomes a coping mechanism. Your brain is like, if we don't stop, we don't have to feel.
Mm.
It's efficient, but it can be honestly emotionally expensive.
Yeah, it's super costly. And I think another reason we avoid slowing down is because we don't actually trust ourselves in the silence. I think we're scared of what we'll think, what we'll feel, what we'll uncover, and what decisions we might start considering if we're not distracted.
Yeah, I think distrust doesn't come out of nowhere. A lot of us are taught to question our instincts, downplay our emotions, and prioritize everyone else's comfort, especially women.
Yep. And
So
moms.
when
Yep. Mm-hmm.
so when things get quiet, it feels unsafe to listen inward to what we're feeling. The silence creates space for clarity, and clarity can be disruptive. And not just clarity, but hard truths. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to face the music. It's literally facing yourself. So it might tell you, or you might learn that you're unhappy in some areas. You've been overreaching, and a lot of the issues come from yourself, like you.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with us. It all ends with us. We might be craving something that we've been avoiding. It's like really facing the music with yourself.
Yeah. And I think that we all know the things that we don't like about ourselves. I think we're all aware of the things that we would like to change about ourselves, and to really not have anything to do and sit in that silence. Um, there's no choice but for those things to come up and for you to really sit there and think about it. So it can really, really be scary. And also, let's talk about multitasking culture for a second. We're not just busy, we are aggressively busy, listening to podcasts while folding
Mhm.
laundry, answering emails while eating, scrolling while watching our kids. It's all so overstimulating.
I am guilty 1000% of all of this. Like,
All of it.
I constantly look for opportunities to multitask. I'm like, okay, when I'm on the toilet, what can I buy for pickup? When I'm literally getting my kids things ready, or lunches ready in the morning, or making myself coffee, my computer is open, or my
Hmm.
my phone is open, and I'm buying something on Amazon, or answering an email, checking something. So rest, in all honesty, or our idea of rest isn't rest anymore. It's rest while consuming. The silence, I think, feels awkward and almost irresponsible. Like I am I can literally do four things at one time. So right now I'm literally doing nothing or one thing,
Mm-hmm.
kind of resting, and it does feel irresponsible, and there goes the guilt again.
Yep. Yep. And it starts to bring up feelings of guilt. Psychologically, again, I think like the constant multitasking keeps the brain in a low level stress response. So you're never really fully present, but you're never fully off either. It's a very exhausting middle ground place to be, but it's familiar because that's how so many of us feel for like 90% of the day. And busyness is socially acceptable avoidance in our culture. Again, with the multitasking and just the constant, like doing this while doing that, like our culture makes it look noble.
It's really unbalanced, I think, the
Yeah.
way that our culture kind of looks at it. It's
Super.
like,
Yeah.
especially American culture, it's like get rich or die trying, like it's like
Mm-hmm.
be successful or you're, like there's nothing else. And success looks like running yourself into the ground. It
Yep.
doesn't look like being balanced. So slowing down, I think for a lot of us doesn't feel restful when we are so used to using that motion as avoidance.
Mm.
Instead, I think what happens is that it feels irresponsible or threatening because now there's when you're in that silence or that stillness, there's nowhere to hide. It's again, it's back to kind of looking at yourself in the mirror and facing the music
Being exposed. Yeah.
by
Being exposed
yourself,
by yourself. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
the best and the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I know for the mothers out there, like this is very modern mom culture. Like everyone's exhausted, no one rests. We all pretend that we love it. We all pretend that we love being, super mom. And we wear it like this badge of honor. And when inside you're yearning for a moment of rest, you're so damn exhausted. All you do want to do is sit down. So why are we fighting against that? It's just not cute. Like we just need to just honor what it is that we're actually feeling.
Right. It's like then when you do sit down, you feel like you're doing something wrong. There goes the irresponsibility again.
Yes.
There
Yes.
goes the guilt. It's like your body is resting, but your brain's like, shouldn't we be buying groceries or planning something? And I definitely feel like as moms, specifically, to show up. Who are they getting? What type of example are they being shown? And then to show them that we're always busy, 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 and that's what equals love, because love is spelled Time for children. And
Yeah.
what better way to show them how to love themselves by implementing like intentional time that you spend with yourselves?
Yeah.
Like it's something that I'm actively working with my kids. They can't stand it. Well, my daughter loves it, but my son, complains every so often. But I'll find him meditating. It's not about so much meditating. It's about just sitting in silence. And they think it's punishment. But I reiterate, I just keep on telling them this is love. Like, this is
Yeah.
how we show ourselves love. We need to rest because honestly, being a child in today's society is rough. Being a child, it's like my kids are like, I'm bored. Like it's my responsibility. Like, I'm bored. What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm bored. What do I do? And it's like, you're bored. Great. Sit. Sit in that
Yeah.
boredom.
Yeah.
That is a gift to yourself. That's love. They don't understand it. But I truly believe that when they get to the right age, they're going to remember that. Like when it matters, when it comes time for them to understand it, they're going to remember us kind of holding that so important and like telling them that this is love, this is what it is. It's not like you said, culture saying that you are not successful or you are slacking or you're
Mhm.
irresponsible.
Or you don't
It
want
is
it bad
telling
enough,
yourself.
or you don't like, and it's just like, yeah, that's not true. That's true. And we're always rushing. We're always rushing to go to the next thing, right? Like what you said made me think of like when we do actually sit down and we do want to, we are intentional about spending that time with our kids. I know for me, I'm so guilty of it and I'm really trying to do better with it. But my mom will be like, Mommy, do you want to play? And I'm like, okay, like let's play. And then like I'll play for 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, mommy can't play anymore. I have to go
We
do
have
this,
so
or I
much
have
stuff
to
to
like,
do.
I have so much stuff to do. Like, I can't. And it's just like, no, actually, you're kind of like making up this mental checklist in your mind. And
Same. Same. Like my daughter's like, the minute she comes home, she's like, but that also comes from the scarcity, of you
yeah,
having time
yeah.
and them knowing that you put limits. I'm guilty for being like, I can play for 10 minutes or I
Hmm.
can play for, like
Yep.
putting a time limit on it. Um, and I think that actually, they see right through it. They see it. So I
Absolutely.
I don't think we're fooling anybody but ourselves and making it worse. Like because my daughter's now like, you always say 15 minutes, or I'll go, yeah, I can, and she'll finish it, but for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and it's like you feel so
Oh,
guilty again.
yeah.
And I think that children are reflection, right? They are a reflection. We always talk about this.
Yeah.
It's just a reminder that, yeah, we need to stop doing that to ourselves. We need to stop putting limits on being bored. It's going to get done. My husband, he's he's pretty good at saying things that kind of get me to reflect later.
Hmm.
And he'll always tell me you'll be busy tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day after that. Like
It's
you're always
true.
going to have something to do.
Hmm.
You're always going to have a deadline. You're always going to, have things to plan. And it's just sometimes you got to remember that the work's not going nowhere. And even, I mean, uh, in all honesty, this job, the next job, career, whatever it is that you're doing, the work is going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it really is. And here's the hard truth I think that we don't want to hear. If you can't sit in silence, it's usually because there's something inside of you asking for attention. And avoiding that doesn't make it go away, friend. It just teaches us that rest is unsafe and productivity equals worth. And for those of us with kids, psychologically, kids absorb how we regulate ourselves. And to your point, this is pretty much in support of what you're saying. I think if they see us constantly distracted and unable to be still, they internalize that discomfort with themselves too. And then they have a problem with like sitting and being bored. And they have a problem with like, they're not able to face themselves in that same way.
Yeah, I agree. I think, just personally, this is something that I've been trying to work on for myself. It is something that for me, discomfort, it feels like jail. Like it honestly is something that I cannot sit with. It's my biggest or hardest, self-worth, whatever it is, self-worth that I'm trying to work on, issue with myself is
Mm.
just really trying to implement it. I'm a great meditator. Like I'm so good at meditating. I'm a meditating queen, but to get me to sit down and meditate takes
Hmm.
a lot. And I know that a lot of clarity comes to me when I meditate, but I still can't do it. I can't bring myself to take that time for myself. Even working out, things like that,
Hmm.
it's difficult for me to
Yeah.
focus on myself. And I think it's because while I'm working out, it's almost like a form of, it's like it's only one thing that I'm doing, instead of like the
Yeah.
10 things that I'm doing. So just last weekend, I was sitting in silence for quite a while. Like I intentionally um, sat in silence. And one of the things that came up was that while we're in silence, the discomfort for me at least was showing up as okay, we're just being. And in just being, there's nothing to control. Like so it was like, wow, like I can't control just being. Like it
Hmm.
really, it just is. And then
Yeah.
the other thing that kind of came up was we're all having a human experience. We're always kind of looking outside. Like people will be like, oh, go outside and touch grass. Like go, ground, go pray, like resolve issues with loved ones, like connect with loved ones. And we're always looking outside to religion, outside to loved ones, outside to nature. We never are looking inside as a first instinct. Well, not all of us, but most of us are not looking internally. And I feel like that's the biggest relationship because we are, no matter what you believe in, I believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the body is what grounds us to that human experience. Like that is what allows us to feel and experience all these emotions. So
Yeah.
if we're not grounding or if we're not working on that relationship with ourselves, then like really what are we doing?
What are
How do
we
we ever really
doing?
feel
Yeah.
fulfilled? How do
Hmm.
you ever really feel God? Like how do you ever really
Hmm.
feel love? How do you ever really feel, your own magic, your own spirit, your own self?
Yeah.
Like
How do you know
and
you're feeling those things? Like, how do
it
you don't?
it's kind of like what we were saying about like in this culture, it's like everything is kind of like shifted one way. Like it's not balanced if we're not connecting with our body. So and finally, like what came up in that, which was a real hard truth for me, was something that you kind of mentioned earlier. It was the lack of trust that I had
Yeah.
with my own body. And it's like, you're afraid of dying, or you're afraid of getting sick, you're afraid of all these things, you're like afraid of getting hurt. And I think that in that fear, I think it does kind of create distrust. Um, but also just not connecting. You're unable to kind of build that trust with your body. So that is what that is a major thing that kind of came up for me, was the need to have that present silence or still time with myself, whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, so that I can build a trust with myself. And that's where it all starts. With your body. Your body is your temple. Your body is it's your home
Yeah.
during this experience.
Hmm.
So I think that's really important. And especially, it always hits harder when you think about the example we're giving our children. I immediately thought of my kids when this came up, and I was like, am I teaching them to trust their bodies? Am I teaching them to have faith? And it goes to, that's why exercise is so important. It's such this like intimate, athletes
Yeah.
probably have a really intimate relationship with their body, where they
Hmm.
know they can go or push, or when
Yeah.
they can't push and things like that. So it's just the whole body kind of
Yeah.
connecting as much as you can. And I think that from this weekend, that time, that revelation that I had, my goal is to have more stillness, have more boredom, have more of that time where I'm just forcing myself, even when it gets hard, to kind of connect with my body.
Yeah.
And I found that in that time, honestly, I loved it. And I was like, wow, like, this is not boring when I'm connecting. It doesn't feel so hard,
Do you think
even
that
when
this
it's
has
rough.
motivated you to spend more silent time with yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels safe when I'm in my
Yeah.
body. It feels safe
Yeah.
when I'm making that connection. And I think that so many of us lack um, that safety feeling, like feeling like you have a place, feeling like you're grounded, feeling like you're aligned, and I think it all starts there. And we're so quick to just kind of disregard our bodies and then
Disregard
wonder
ourselves.
why.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And then wonder why, like, you're like, I know I'm in love. I know I love, but I don't feel love. Like, I don't feel fulfillment. I know I'm being successful, but I don't feel happiness. I don't feel,
Yeah.
I am telling you that I'm happy, but how does it connect? And I think, at least for me, and hopefully, if anybody else can relate, this is, like, you're not alone, basically. But for me, um, that really struck a chord, and that really for me was one of the missing relationships and connections that I had. And I was just so surprised, because you walk this earth for so long, and you're like, like kind of just chasing your tail. Well, I did this, I did that, I did whatever, and then you go through another cycle, and
Yeah.
all the while you're just kind of like, disregarding it. And even in motherhood, and even in that discussion we had, and what we went through with that, I remember just getting a little piece of it where I was like, wow, my body is like really taking care of me.
Hmm.
Like in this moment, when you were going through contractions and going through labor and things like that, I was like, whoa. I think that was like the first time in my life where I was like, whoa, like your body, noticed I,
Yeah.
I can have a relationship with my body as
Yeah.
this, like, this piece of the equation. So, anyways.
Yeah, no, no, no. I agree with everything that you're saying. I think the same way that we put energy and effort into relationships with other people and building trust with other people, we need to be putting that same energy and effort into building trust and showing up for ourselves. And I think if this episode made you uncomfortable in any way, take that as information. not criticism, because we're right there with
No.
you. We are also very guilty of all of this as well. You're not failing, you're coping.
Right. And I think that it's good practice, especially in today's world, again, to just have the like being intentional changes everything. Be
Hmm.
intentional about slowing down. Be intentional about having moments when you are quote unquote bored. Slowing down, it doesn't mean, like you said, it doesn't mean that you're failing. It doesn't mean that you're falling apart. It means we're finally giving ourselves permission to feel and to sit with emotions that need attention. It's about shutting the entire world out and all of that loud outside noise. And not sometimes doesn't seem loud, but it's the distractions that we
Yeah.
need to kind of shut out and give ourselves some attention and love. And that for me is what true self-care is.
Yeah, totally. Because if you never slow down, you never give yourself the chance to build that self trust that we were just talking about. You stay dependent on the distraction or on the noise to tell you who you are. And do you want to let distraction and noise and, the dilly dallies of the world tell you who you are? Like, don't you want to be in charge of that narrative yourself?
And eventually, I think the cost of avoiding ourselves becomes higher than the fear of meeting ourselves.
Ooh, say that again. Say that again for the people. Because no, 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 they need to hear it. Because what?
Right, right, right. I think, again,
Say it
I
again. No,
think
I was serious.
eventually the cost of avoiding ourselves becomes higher than the fear of meeting our true selves.
And that's it. Episode done.
Done.
Let's wrap. Let's wrap. Let's wrap.
Right.
Like,
So who's going to tell her?
who gonna tell her that rest isn't lazy, silence isn't dangerous, and slowing down is not gonna break you, friend, but avoiding yourself will.
Right. And if you're listening to this while you're multitasking,
Which is okay. We noticed.
just start by maybe pausing one thing today. Just one.
Just one. Yeah. Yeah. Just one thing. And maybe try to focus on one task at a time and see how you feel with that.
And that right there is the intention, right?
Yeah. And that's being
It's having the
intentional.
intention. So we'll
Yeah.
talk to you next time.
Good luck being intentional, slowing down and sitting with yourselves. Let us know what you learn. Okay. That wraps for Who's Gonna
Bye.
Tell Her. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.